being real and sharing some of my life with all of these people, so they also feel connected to me. And it's amazing because wherever I go, like, "Well, you had a great birthday, we saw your photos," or your grandfather this, or whatever it is that you've posted, that people feel like, we're still in the same world, even though we maybe haven't seen each other for a while.
And that may be a commentary on your demographic as well.
Exactly.
That they're on Facebook. Mine are dead. Mine are in the nursing home.
But even one of my past clients, she's 83 this year. She's active on Facebook. And
Really?
She'll private message me, and she'll comment on all my stuff. And such a sweet lady. And she was, given some unfortunate news before Christmas about her cancer had returned, and she has 6 months, so it's coming up to that time. But I set up a time last week to go and visit with her, and she's still drinking her wine, and she likes her scratch tickets. So I put together a little bucket and basket for her, and just stopped by, and great conversation. I enjoy her and her husband's company, and we had a nice visit. And it's just, through otherwise I probably wouldn't have picked up the phone to call her. And she doesn't do email, but she loves her Facebook. So that was just an easy way for me to connect with them.
So how much time do you spend on social media? And is it predominantly Facebook?
It is. I'm on Instagram, but I've never been able to figure out Twitter for me. Like, I couldn't figure it out. I ended up drunk tweeting for like a period of like 3 or 4 years. It's funny when you write it at the time, and then you read it the next day and go, that's not funny. And Instagram I just use for personal use. So it was one of those things where, back when I first started, you'd go to these social media seminars, and it seemed like everyone had a different opinion on what to do, be on all of them, be on one. And for me, I decided Facebook works. Like, it's worked for me. And I know we had that guy come to the Invitational a couple years ago, and he said old people are on Facebook, like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever's where it needs to be. But
I'm not.
But I like it, and I get messages all the time through there. Like, a lot of my deals start through Facebook Messenger. Like, somebody messages me and says, "Can you call my mom? She needs to sell. Or can you do this? Or can you do that?" And
is this through a personal page or a business page?
Personal. So I have the business page.
Do you use it?
Yeah, so I post my listings on there. I'll follow up if I get messages, but I never have anyone that I know message me through there. They message me like through my personal page.
How many Facebook followed friends do you have?
I'm gonna tell you.
So I thought it was going to say 1,500.
Oh, wow. 1,700. I didn't realize that.
What percentage of that is agents though?
Yeah, there's probably 100 agents on there.
Oh, that's it?
Oh, you like
I
agents?
deleted all my.
I don't have agents on mine, so it's a good idea to have agents or not have agents?
Always a good idea.
Only not in your
area.
area.
We'll talk about that some other day. We're going to stick to this agenda. So what do you do for lead generation? It almost sounds like you do nothing.
Facebook.
Other than Facebook.
In what? So in what sense? I don't think I do anything.
What do you mean?
I don't think
How do I get
So
this
you don't
thing?
do anything online lead generation like an agent locator website or something like that? You're not doing mail outs to your past clients? You're not.
Are you the only realtor in Niagara Falls?
No, not religiously, like not on a schedule. I think of somebody and I want to do it, I want to stop by, I do that, but not, I love when I hear like Jonathan and Michelle do their pies, or I see a couple of agents on Facebook that do pumpkins in the fall, and they do this, and I sit there and I'm like, where does everyone get their energy from? Like, I love this idea, but
We're not doing 65 deals a year.
I can't do that.
Myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
I overthink it, and then all of a sudden it's November and I miss Thanksgiving. That's true.
Just saying.
Do you plant referral seeds? Do you ask for referrals or
Never.
talk about referrals? Never ever.
So the only time, it's actually been the same family, but they've, I've worked with a couple people over the years, and I've shown them the houses, and long time, like maybe 3 or 4 months, and then they end up buying privately, or they go for another deal. And I've never been like, I don't have a buyer rep sign, so I'm not going after them for anything, but we're a small community in a way, so I say to them, I'm happy for you. If that's a good deal and you're happy for it, I say just, if you hear of someone looking to buy or sell, just send them my way. If you think we're gonna be a good fit, send them my way. And that's the only time I've asked for referrals, is in those events where somebody has, bought or sold privately or with somebody else, and I'm really sorry. That's the only time. But my regular clients, I don't. I always do, I don't ask for referrals, but after closing for buyers, I was telling Jonathan about it the other day, I love like some of the elaborate gifts that, people put together and the thoughtful gifts that they do. I've always just done, probably the last 6 years, a thank you card with a gift card. And I find that it works for the most part for me. So I do a personalized thank you card to the client. Like, it's not lost on me that they have multiple options to choose from for real estate agents. And I always say, like, thank you for choosing and trusting me as your real estate guy. I really appreciate it, it means a lot. And then I always close with, if you ever need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out. And a lot of my clients do, like, Kevin, do you have the MLS from last year for this listing? Or one of my clients was messaging me, do you have the commission statements from my leases from last year? It's tax time. And I want them to come to me for that stuff. I want them to feel like they can just shoot an email or a text, and I'm gonna help them get that stuff. I want to be their guide for all of it.
Excellent. So you said you give them a gift card on closing. What kind of a gift card?
Just a prepaid MasterCard.
Ah,
Unless,
and what kind of value?
so it ranges depending on like the purchase or the sale. So this one that just closed was a mother and a daughter purchasing. The daughter needed the mom on title for financing purposes, and she has 3 kids. And the mother has been a past client of mine. So I did 100 for my client, 100 for her mom, and 50 for each of the kids. And I mailed them out, and there's like addressed to each of the kids, and they love that. Like, you usually get a voicemail saying, thanks, this is great. And again, with the Christmas cards, I always include like spouses, if there's parents living with them, pets, kids. So it's always handwritten, personalized to each family.
I think it's becoming very clear that Kevin's business is relationship driven. And that a lot of the traditional lessons that people think, around lead generation, follow-up, whatever, is not necessarily necessary if you really are amazing at relationships, which clearly you are. Just a sidebar story to that, at the Christmas party, I was mentioning about the Christmas Day feast, and I guess in passing said about our necklaces that light up.
Right.
The following week, a big box arrives at my house from Kevin with a gift certificate for the directors who put the event on for Starbucks, and a box full of those necklaces that light up. I mean, I cried. Like
You posted it on your Facebook page.
it was absolutely stunning, but how many people would think of doing something like that? And so, I think it's your incredible thoughtfulness obviously carries through with your clients. And the fact that you give gift cards to kids, or you mentioned the family pet in a card, that is huge for people. Like that is huge.
I try to make sure I'm doing it because I want to, not because I think, well, this is going to get me the next deal.
You're
like,
coming from the right place.
and I have to
get it.
sometimes check, like, am I doing this for the right reasons?
Yes.
And I do. I want to make sure I'm sending it because I enjoy working with
Right.
these clients, and because
And if they were assholes, they get nothing.
Absolutely.
I get it. Run us through a typical day for you. What time do you start in the morning or afternoon?
So I'm not like a super early riser. I'll probably wake up between 7 and 8. I like working from the office, so I work out of the Niagara Falls office. It's such a, I can't figure it out, but I'm more productive there. The printers work, like I need stuff from the admin people, like everything's kind of there. At home, I find that it's just, this morning I tried to print this stupid thing, and like 6 times it wouldn't print, so I'm like, it's just easier at the office. But I'll get up, and every day I go to the office. Depends on when my day starts. If I have showings first thing, I'll do them. I'm scattered. Like, I've never been one to say, like, if I'm in Fort Erie down here in the morning, I'm going to try and schedule my Welland showings next and my St. Catharines ones later. No, like, I'll do Fort Erie, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Wainfleet, just based on the clients. If that's what works for them, I'm all over, and my day will plan accordingly. there's really only, the last couple of years I've gotten better at carving out some more personal time during the week. And like tomorrow, Kyla's covering me, it's my sister's birthday, and she's got a whole day planned. Where a few years ago, I probably would have tried to juggle something in the morning and maybe skip out later to still do it. But that's important to me, and I want to still find a way, and realize that my clients aren't going to leave. Like, they're going to wait, or I'm going to find someone that's going to be able to show them the houses. And so used to just be Saturday evenings was like family time or friend time, and that was the time I carved out. And then anything else was up for grabs. I may not be thrilled about working on a Sunday hungover, but I'll set it up. I'm going to go and do it, and that's my punishment for drinking too much. But the average day could start, really start much earlier than 8:30, and it could go as late as 9:30. And I work from home, like at night, I'm always on my phone. Like last night, clients were messaging me at 10 o'clock, texting me, sending me links to listings, like what do you think of this, what do you think of that? And for a minute I thought, well, I'll respond tomorrow morning, but then I knew I was going to be here, and I'm like, just do it now, get it out there. Let's set up the time to go see it on Sunday or Monday. And I think my clients like that they can reach me whenever. And I created a monster years ago doing that, but you know, it allows me to do the volume of business that I do because I just respond and we get it done and over with.
When you list a property, there's lots of things you have to do, right? You gotta do your Facebook ads and whatever other marketing you're going to be doing, and you've got to get your measurements, process your listing, and whatever. So do you have specific times you set aside for that? Okay, I'm not showing any property this day, I'm working on paperwork. Or does it just, you do it as it comes?
Do it as it comes.
Do it as it comes. Wow, you know, we can take you to the Circle of Legends level by you getting an assistant and some systems. Like if you're doing 65 or more transactions with no systems flying by the seat of your pants, you are limitless in what you can do, Kevin. And while honoring your personal time, which I think you could actually honor your personal time even more and do more deals. And
there was 2 agents from our St. Catharines office. So chairman is the 500 level for Remax, then Titan is between 750 and $1 million is Titan, and then Diamond is $1 million and higher. So we had 2 agents from our St. Catharines office that individually, they had like a small team, but it was, they each kind of had an agent, and it was more just, they would catch the overflow and whatever, because they were just running around. So the one agent was Titan and the one agent was Diamond. And they had 2 like very successful independent businesses. And last year they decided to join their businesses to create a new team. And over the last year, they've created like their admin team, their marketing team. Like they've surrounded themselves with all these people now, and it's been huge for them, like extremely successful. And kind of at the time, some of us were like, what are they doing? Like they both have successful businesses, but I'm gonna guess behind the scenes it was chaotic with no systems in place. And now they've kind of economies of scale joined, and now they can have people, I think they still kind of run independently, but their systems run for both of them.
And when you have systems and people, that frees you up so much that you can do so much more if you wish to. And having systems for keeping in touch and follow up and on, you know, there will, if your business right now is 80% referral, that's a good thing in terms of commentary on referral, and I'm the same, I'm 83%, but it's actually partly bad, because it means you're not lead generating for new business. And that's because you don't have time to do that. But when you have systems and people around you to free you up, you can do a little more of that and grow your entire business. And you know, I think you have a huge amount of opportunity there. And you're so early in the game. Like you watch Titan next year or the year after. You will. But you're going to need systems to get you there because you're human, right? You have a
Leverage.
You can only do so much.
What, which is a perfect segue to this next question, what would you like to implement that you're not doing right now, both personally and business?
So on the business side of things, like I would like to implement, you know, that admin person, the CRM. But I almost can't, part of me knows what I would like to see out of it. I would like to do a few more mailouts throughout the year, a few more touch points. I've thought about, you know, the birthday or the anniversary cards, like stuff like that. So I have some ideas, But then I get so busy during the week, and I'm like, oh, where am I gonna find this person? And then the last thing I wanna do is sit there and train them, because then I'm like, I might as well just do it myself. And I've been going through this cycle for 11 years, but meanwhile, I could be 6 years with an assistant if I had have done this 6 years ago. So from the business side of things, I do have some ideas. I don't wanna grow a big team. I like keeping it, kind of small and connected with my clients, the relationship side of it. There's
You have a perfect opportunity to do a virtual assistant
true.
for some stuff. You don't have to train.
What are the sites for that? What is
We
that?
can talk about that
Okay.
later, but a
So-
VA might be a good way for you to start.
Like there's you see the billboards for the big teams, and do you do Brantford at all? So we had Revel Realty from our area. Did you notice they joined? Have you heard of Revel at all? They're out of Niagara Falls and St. Catharines. It was just an independent brokerage. It was a guy that started the brokerage, and it took off, and he's expanded. And Brantford is his first expansion outside of Niagara. But there's a top team there. This girl had done really well for herself. Her husband was an accountant, and he was doing photography on the side. And he started doing her listings, and then he started helping her. And he quit his big government accounting job and now working on a team with her. And they've expanded their team into like 12, 13 people. And they're big on, what's that?
Who is that?
They expanded the team, and they're big on training their agents and growing them, whatever. But in the last 2 years, they've lost like 2 of their top agents to go off on their own. And they say that they enjoy training, but they invest all of this money into these people that then end up taking off. So I don't want a big team, but for business, it would be probably the 2 big things: is an assistant and implementing a CRM. Because I want to have a few more touch points throughout the year and a few different ways to be in contact with the clients. And personal, I think I'm fine where I'm at. I'm happy with the time off that I get. Last year, Kyla covered me when I went to Europe for 2.5 weeks, and that was my first time being able to actually disconnect from the phone, partially because I was on a cruise ship and I couldn't get a signal. And the time difference, but it was nice to feel that everything was being covered and taken care of with somebody that my clients were going to connect well with and be taken care of. And when I go to San Francisco for a weekend or a week, I still have my phone. Like, I don't mind doing that stuff, but at least one trip a year I want to be able to just disconnect and not worry about it.
And one last question, where do you want to be, or where do you think you'll be in 5 years? That's 2024.
Every January, I always feel like I start back at 0. It's like a weird mindset, because it's like, I work off of a calendar year and the dollar amount. So I'm like, okay, you finished that, $550 or $600, wherever it was. Really, that next month shouldn't start you back at 0, but my mind thinks that I start there. And then I have this fear at the beginning of the year,
You'll
like,
never do another deal.
no one's ever gonna call me again. Like, instead of taking those quiet weeks.
How many people feel that?
Instead of taking those quiet weeks and relaxing and enjoying it, then the anxiety kicks in that, like, I'm done. Like, I'm never gonna do
My
another
career's
deal.
over.
Yeah. So, I have that in my mind where I'm like,
We'll get together in January's now.
Okay.
You can drink together, you're old.
So I have that side of me where I'm just like, I'd just be happy to continue to do what I'm doing. But the other side would be like, I'd like to take it a little bit further. Like, let's get it a little bit more organized. Like, let's have a few systems in place. It doesn't have to be overly systematized, but let's have a few things in place. And I've been at this level for a little bit. It'd be nice to go a little bit further and see where that.
You're gonna go a lot further.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I just because I have great systems and two assistants and kind of been through that, and I think we work a lot the same way, I'd certainly like to offer to you, if it's helpful at all, that I'd come and spend a day with you and just talk in more depth about that.
Absolutely.
Because I think that you're limitless in terms of what you can do. And it's an honor and a privilege to know you, Kevin, it really is. So thank you. I know we're near the end of our time, but can we do a few questions? Okay.
The system, what I would say for you, Kevin, it would create less mental stress. It would just be,
And my mind is always going, so I think that.
Yeah.
I don't do 500,000, but I've done 400,000 with having almost like, I don't know, 4 months off, and I don't really think too much about the business, like Mark says, because the business in the morning, you do this, do
Starts
this.
to run itself.
Yeah, it's system, and systems would free up your mind.
They are such a relief.
Instead of your mind being loaded, you know, with having to think, it would just, and then you would have more time. That's a part of the business when you get there. It's so fun.
Weightlifted.
Very
Wait,
true.
yeah.
Ed?
Great talk. Kevin, you show such honesty in you when you're talking, and that's the way you're coming across to people. Do you pay any fees for Facebook business advertising?
Shit, I haven't done that for my last couple of listings. I usually do, yes.
See, you forgot.
I didn't have a list.
So are you
I do, so.
zeroing to a demographic when you do your,
No, I think I set it pretty broad. I created a couple years ago, I created a couple like geographic ones depending on where the listing is. But no, it's not, it's male and female, 18 to like 65 plus or something. Only because my thought process was that, you know, my 83-year-old Facebook friend might see that listing, who her granddaughter's
Yeah, of
looking,
course,
and she's
yeah.
gonna call.
so what budget would you have for a listing?
I think I usually do between 35 and 50 bucks
Oh, that's good.
for a 1 week thing, and then if that's the open house, I'll give it a breather and then I'll do it again.
Okay, thank you.
Laura?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, both of you, first of all, like that was fabulous. And I also wanted to hear everybody, because this is the first time we've done this format. If you got a big aha from Mark or from Kevin in this, could you share that? Like, that's probably the most important thing that everybody needs to hear right now about this as well. So
But
if you
Kevin
could
doesn't
continue
have
with
an
that.
assistant.
Go back over here to
Dave.
I wondered,
And then
did you use a
Dave.
day timer?
No. So in the last couple of years, I started using,
Not even a day
He
timer?
still has a memory.
Do you use anything?
I do now. The last couple of years, things got a little bit busy, and I remember missing an appointment. I was like, I need to do something. So I use notes. It's very old school, but I just have notes and I just write them in, and then I delete them as I accomplish them. But I can't.
When you get
the
old like me,
Trello,
Kevin, it's hard to remember.
I can't use the calendar on my phone, like that stuff. Can't do it. So I just write
That's
in notes.
I have
Like,
visions of you writing on your hand or.
Yeah.
no, I have lots of paper that I write the notes on. I have 2 things I need to do.
Imagine what he could do, imagine what he could do if he got organized.
Catherine,
Oh my God.
and then Peter.
What I recognized, although I suspected this about you before this, is that you are so fastidiously committed to being sincere.
Yeah.
You're clearly a wonderful person, and you insist on that with every client. And I think that your systems, you're not gonna lose that. You need to keep that fastidiousness and make sure that it's just a vehicle for you to not forget,
Right.
to tell somebody how wonderful they are, whatever you're doing with them. But anyways, thank you.
Very good.
I think it's
Wait,
the
whoa, Peter?
I was just gonna say that what your system is your authenticity. That's what I got out of it. And they can see that you're real and you're keeping it real. And really, it's really a simple business. We don't have to complicate it. There's a lot of things coming out of, we call it the shiny spoon syndrome. That's another reason when you go to Realtor Fest and places like that, there's like 2,000 plus offerings, and everybody, oh, this is really good, really good. But you know what? We gotta think like the clients do. And that's what you do. You're just like, hey, transparent. Hey, here's what it is. Your listing presentation, it's not complicated. You just listen well, and that's key. And so, thank you for reminding us what's that. Because it's not about us going there and showing them all this thing, just, you know, having their eyes get glossed over. You gotta connect with them, and that's what you really do well. So thank you for sharing. Awesome.
Kevin, one thing that struck me is that we've all heard it, ready, aim, fire. Sounds like there's not a lot of ready and not a lot of aim, but a lot of firing going on. And you said to just get to it and work.
Right.
What are some of the things, other than the obvious of returning a phone call, returning an email, showing a property, going on listing, what else is work because I hear Facebook is part of your routine
Right.
to stay connected and be in front of people. Is there anything else you do or pay for that's considered work to get your business?
I don't know.
Nope.
So when you said, I just put my head down and I just work to get my goal.
Yeah,
what's the
so
work?
for me, the big thing, I think, is the follow-up. I hate to leave things hanging, like sometimes we get busy and maybe you forget something or you have to have that uncomfortable conversation with the client. It's just doing it, and you know, at the time, like, I find sometimes the clients aren't happy to hear it, but once it digests, you know, they're happy that we had that conversation. And I think for me, it's just always the follow-up, like returning those phone calls and not and I do it right away, because otherwise, you know, you might forget. But in terms of other work, I
Just
don't
do
know.
do what needs to be done and do it now.
Yeah, I
Is that
guess
what
some
you're
people
saying?
could feel like I'm just always chasing, but I just, as whatever's coming across the table, just do it so that I can get it off my plate or put a note in my notes to follow up at a later date when it needs to be done, but try not to let things go past.
So you're not buying the traditional buying business,
No.
billboards, the bus benches,
No,
all
so I
that
have a
kind of
contract with Metroland Media, which is our local
Mhm.
newspaper network. And print advertising is still relatively cheap for us. And I also have a contract with them where they do some online posts for me. I don't really know what they do, but
That's
people tell me, like my dad will send me a message from the iPad. He's like, your face just showed up on my crossword puzzle or something. So like the ads are going out. But that's just a little bit of branding, nothing too crazy.
Okay, David, Ivan, oh, and then another David, and then we have to wrap that up.
Well, it was, Peter said it well, what I wanted to say, you know, he comes across authentic, that's, and the fact that you're bringing in, like you said, the gift card and you remember all the names, that is like probably bigger, because I remember I said the one time, people were asking me when I did a presentation, what's the best housewarming gift? You.
That's right.
And you going back a week after and, you know, seeing that they're painted or doing that, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's not the
You've
gift.
shown
It's
it,
you.
yeah.
You are the gift.
David?
I want to give a testimony, if that's okay. Kevin just sold one of my houses. It's- He resonated with the way we work. We're talking about confidence, trust, sincerity. You can't fake those.
Mhm.
It's not a one-time event when you're in front of someone and say, look, I'm good, I'm honest. All those words means nothing. So your everyday action. I really don't know Kevin that well, other than been seeing him at the meeting here for the past few years.
Yeah, 4 years.
But there is that
Trust.
trust. In fact, it's funny, I'm one of those dangerous guys when it comes to real estate because I think I know, but I don't. I'm sort of in the business, but not in the business. So my mind was set that, actually initially I go, I can do an ugly yellow sign and sell it myself. I mentioned that to him too, right? And I priced it in my mind, and he came back and he said, oh, I think we can get more than that. I go, oh, I mean, I have to take his advice, right? And we ended up selling more than what I would have net on my own. And without that testing, in my own mind, I probably think I did a good deal. Because it was more than.
And you
So-
put that on Google already for him, right?
No,
Okay, I need to get
no,
some
I
Google
haven't yet.
reviews.
Thank
I've
you.
And Google reviews.
Thank you.
Yes,
But
you're
really,
welcome.
it's the trust, right? To me, this sounds also funny. Half the stuff, I've never used a package sign.
Yeah, I got
He doesn't even call me, he said, signed here. I go, oh, what's this?
it.
So your name?
I've heard you guys talk about it, but when you're on the other shoes, the other end of it, it's like, oh, everything was different. Really, it's trust.
Yep, very true. David?
The point that I'm getting kind of, coming from a smaller market, I look at all the big dog and pony shows that Toronto agents have to do. If I ever took that dog and pony show to the bulk of my clients, they're gonna glaze over in the first 3 minutes and not hear a word I say, because it's not the way they relate. They're looking in a small community of 16,000 people, a day, like a base of maybe 50,000 in my geographic area. If I took that flash stuff to my people, I lose them. If I sit at their kitchen table and remember that they took cream in their coffee instead of cream and sugar, and I'm getting them a coffee, that means more to them than a 10-minute video thing that I can put on my laptop, right?
That's a
Because
good
that's
point,
what
too.
they're
It
looking
depends
for,
a
they're
lot on
looking
your
for the
market.
relationship. In
Everybody
Toronto and
is.
London and those areas, maybe it's different, because the competition is bringing all that stuff, and that's the expectation. But in my market, that's not the expectation. They want the connection, and it's not that, again, big
Yeah, I
city
couldn't
people
make
don't
it
want
work
it.
in
It's
another
not that they
market.
don't,
This
but they're not
works
accustomed
for-
to getting
for
it,
your
there's no
market.
expectation.
And it is largely driven too by your market,
What's the
what the
population?
expectations are.
What's the population?
Yeah, what's the population, the territory you serve roughly?
So like Niagara Falls itself is 88,000, St. Catharines is 140,000.
I'm gonna say half a million overall.
Oh, yeah, no, it's gonna be-
But
Yeah,
hang on a
350,
second. I think the more important question is how many agents are playing in the field.
I was just
And
gonna say,
think-
and how many
And I think
agencies?
it's like a 10% reflection to Toronto percentage of agents, I'm just guessing.
Oh, probably less. How many agents do you
Probably
have?
less.
How many agents do you have?
That's huge.
They have
You have 1,500, you have
Yeah.
1,500 agents.
Yeah.
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 Serving
We have
350,000 people.
31 next door to theirs.
You know, I know
I have
at one point,
150.
our region,
Yeah.
3 years ago, was the
3,000
highest
in Toronto.
number of agents per capita in
Yeah.
Canada.
How many
We have
was it?
600 agents for a trading area of 80,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but how many are coming from different,
So what's the
That
Not
doesn't
that,
include
not that many.
Oh.
50% of
coming Toronto, really?
transactions that are coming
Yeah.
from outside brokers.
Yeah, so that's half a percent
Yeah.
of the
We
population.
have, in Toronto, there's one agent for every 115 people.
How do you guys eat?
Exactly.
It's not easy.
So
In-
was
in Toronto?
was this interview format helpful?
100%. Really good job, you
Well, now I'm gonna
guys.
buy a house just because I want to work with you. But you have to find me that water view in Niagara on the lake, storage century home for $450. I'm in.
Good job.